Hello students, welcome to Biosastra Talks. As we are all doing the paper revision of the NEET Botany, so we'll move on to the next question. What was the question given here in the NEET Botany was in the previous papers was about the bryophytes. Here they are asking about the question about the bryophytes. What was the question was bryophytes are called amphibians of the plant kingdoms because means here they are asking why the bryophytes are known as amphibians of the plant kingdom. Okay, so what were the options they were given was like they can live in water and on land, and the second option is they require water for fertilization. Third option is they have xylem and phloem, and the fourth one is they produce seeds. Okay, these were the four options given for the question they have given in the NEET Botany. So we'll go on with the explanation why they are known as amphibians of the plant kingdom. Okay, if we see here, some of these are examples of the bryophytes. Normally we know that bryophytes are nothing but the plants which do not have any specific root or vascular tissues in their body, means they do not show specific structures like the normal plants will show, like normal plants will have stem, root, vascular tissue, everything, but the bryophytes are the plants which lack some of the structures like vascular tissues like xylem and phloem, and specific root structures. Here you can see some of the examples of bryophytes in which you can see lack of stem in some plants and lack of roots in some plants, like that here. So the main examples of the bryophytes are like liverworts, moss plants which will grow on land or water also. Okay, if we see what was the answer was why the amphibians are known as bryophytes are known as amphibians of the plant kingdom was, what was the answer was they require water for fertilization. That's why the bryophytes are known as amphibians. Amphibians means normally we know that which will present, which will crawl or which will present in the water also. So like that, normally they require water for fertilization. That's why they are known as amphibians of the plant kingdom. Okay, so why means why they are, why they require water for fertilization means why, because the bryophytes have, we know that the plants will have both pollen grains or eggs, something like sperms and male gametes and female gametes, if we see simply. So because of the presence of the because of the lack of some specific structures in the bryophytes, like the specific structures, the bryophytes need water, means they have motile sperms which will need water to swim to the eggs, means the sperms which will be fallen into the water and they swim to the egg in the archegonium for fertilization. Okay, like that they need the water for the fertilization. That's why they are known as amphibians of the plant kingdom. And you can also see some of the bryophytes are also terrestrial. If we see that we are saying that they need water, means you can say that the bryophytes present in water, but no, we know that bryophytes are the plants which will also grow on the land. If we see what was that there are some terrestrial bryophytes also which will grow on the land, but they are water bound, means they grow on the land but they require moist environments like muddy areas, like that, so that they require moist environments since they lack vascular tissues. Because if they have the xylem and phloem in their in their plant structures, the like what is the role of xylem and phloem? They'll transfer the nutrients or water molecules from the plant, means from root to the stem, like that. No, so that is the role of xylem and phloem. But here the bryophytes lack both of the vascular tissues. That's why, although they grow on the land, but they require the moist environments like muddy environments, so that the sperms or the male gametes can transfer to the female gametes to form a like zygote. Okay, so another thing, another explanation for this is alternation of gene. Like if we see what will happen was, if we see in the here what was the role of bryophytes is they are dominant gametophytes. Like some of the dominant gametophytes absorb the water and nutrients directly from the environment. If we see the bryophytes, we know that they lack xylem and phloem, right? So because of the lack of vascular tissues, normally what they have to do, how the bryophytes will survive means they'll absorb the water and nutrients from the air, and means each part of the plant have to absorb the water and nutrients from the air, and then it have to survive. Okay, like that the bryophytes can survive without the specific vascular tissues or vascular bonds. Okay, vascular tissues, sorry, like vascular tissues or roots. Okay, like this they'll survive under certain conditions. Okay, this is the perfect example for how they are known as amphibians of the plant kingdom. Okay, here we will move on to the next question. So what was the next question given in the paper is the first stable product of the Calvin cycle. Here they are asking about the Calvin cycle in C3 plants. We know that normally the Calvin cycle, the C3 cycle occurs in the process of photosynthesis. Okay, C3 and C4 cycles. Normally the C3 cycle is known as light dependent cycle, means which needs light and atmospheric carbon dioxide and water. So here what they are asking in this question was what was the first stable product of Calvin cycle in the C3 plants. So here there are some of the examples. What were they? Phosphoglycerate, phosphoenol pyruvate, oxaloacetate and ribulose biphosphate. So these are the main examples, like main options given for the question what is the stable product of the Calvin cycle. So if we move on to the explanation, if we see normally in the Calvin cycle we'll have three phases, right? First one is carbon fixation, second one is reduction phase, and the third one is regeneration of RuBP, means ribulose biphosphate. Okay, so if we see what will happen in the each phase is means the ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate, which is the primary product in the Calvin cycle. It needs both carbon dioxide and water from the environment, means it absorbs the carbon dioxide and water. Why? Because normally the C3 cycle occurs in the chloroplasts. Normally we know that this light dependent, the photosynthesis requires light. So with the absorption of the light, carbon dioxide and water, the ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate is converted into 3-PGA, means 3-phosphoglycerate, means this what will happen in this process in the carbon fixation. Why this reaction is known as carbon fixation means here the carbon is fixed, means the addition of the carbon molecules will takes place. So the ribulose bisphosphate normally with the help of the ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate carboxylase or oxygenase enzyme, it catalyzes the reaction between carbon dioxide and ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate, means here in the first reaction both the carbon dioxide reacts with the ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate and the 5 carbon, it is known as the 5 carbon sugar. So by the addition, by the reaction of this carbon dioxide with the ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate, the product which is formed is nothing but the 3-phosphoglycerate. Okay, so what is the, it is the 6 carbon, it is nothing but a 6 carbon molecule which is not a stable molecule, but it is formed in the first reaction of the C3 cycle. So with the help of ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate carboxylase means they'll add carbon dioxide. Okay, this is the first reaction. And what was the second reaction is reduction phase. Reduction phase means we know that what is reduction, addition of hydrogens, like so like that only the 3-PGA is converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate by with the help of ATP by losing like by the addition of H plus ions and with the help of NADPH and ATP. NADPH is the hydrogen H plus ion supplier for this 3-PGA. So with the help of these two energy molecules, the 3-PGA is converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate in the second phase. So if we move on to the third phase, what was the third phase occurred in the Calvin cycle is regeneration of RuBP, means here what will happen is if we see in the cycle here you can easily understand step 2 is the reaction. So okay, in the step 3 regeneration means when the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate again converted into the ribulose 5-phosphate, this ribulose 5-phosphate is regenerated, means again the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate or the ribulose 5-phosphate forms the ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate with the help of ATP here. Okay, so with the help of ATP, with the help like the what is the role of ATP here means this ATP will give one phosphate molecule so that at the position or at the first position of the ribulose sugar another phosphate is added. If we see this is the sugar molecule structure. Okay, so here if you see, this is the ribulose 5 phosphate. When the ATP helps it, or the ATP is used as energy source, automatically one of the phosphate of ATP is like removed, and the ADP is formed. That freed phosphate ion is attached to the first carbon of the ribulose 5 phosphate, so that the product which is formed from this is nothing but ribulose 1,5 bisphosphate. Okay, again at the end we are also getting the ribulose 1,5 bisphosphate. That's why it is known as a cycle. Why? Because we'll start with the ribulose 1,5 bisphosphate, again with the help of all these enzymes and the energy regeneration, and with the formation of some of the byproducts, again the ribulose bisphosphate is formed. Like this cycle will go on in the photosynthesis process. So here you see that why they are known as, this reaction is known as regeneration of RuBP, means why? Because it is regenerated, again it is formed. That's why it is known as regeneration. So simply you can say that the C3 cycle contains three steps, that is carbon fixation, means RuBisCo with the help of CO2 it forms the 3-phosphoglycerate, and in the second step it is known as reduction. Here you can see some of the help with some of the molecules, like energy molecules are helping the 3-phosphoglycerate to form glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate by two reactions. Like first of all 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate is formed, and again with the help of NADPH you can see the formation of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate here. So this is the second step, reduction. In the third step what will happen means, the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is, it forms the ribulose 5-phosphate, and again the ribulose 5-phosphate with the help of ATP molecules it forms the ribulose 1,5 bisphosphate. Like this cycle will go on throughout the process of photosynthesis and gives the energy for the formation of glucose molecules. Okay, if we see what is the, if by seeing this cycle you can simply guess that what is the answer and what was the question given, what is the first byproduct formed in the C3 cycle. No, so what is the first byproduct formed? Nothing but the answer is 3-phosphoglycerate. So this is the answer. The 3-phosphoglycerate is the first byproduct which is formed in the C3 cycle of photosynthesis. Okay, so this is the proper explanation of the C3 cycle. Okay, thank you guys. If you like this video, just comment me in the comment section, and if you have any other friends who are preparing for the NEET exam, just try to share it with them. If you think this video is helpful, then try to share it with them. Thank you guys, thank you so much.